Hello, everybody. Look right over here at the screen. Make sure your body is still and that you are ready to lean in to hear God's word. Have you ever been on a long road trip? At first, it was a lot of fun, right? Then the next hour passes, and then the next hour, and then the next hour, and then the next. You get the point. Finally, you just can't take traveling anymore. You've watched every movie on your tablet 3 times, you've slept, you've fought multiple times with your siblings about who ate all the chips. Trips are fun, right? But there comes a time where you just want to be back at the house. The trip just needs to be over. It's time to go home. That's where we are with the Israelites. It's time for them to go home. Let's say today's bottom line, it's time to go home together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. It's time to go home. It has been 40 years of traveling and moving from place to place in the wilderness, and it was finally time for God's people, the Israelites, to move into the promised land. It wasn't going to be easy. There were lots of other people there who didn't want God's people to move in and take over. Moses passed away, and there was a new leader for God's people. His name was Joshua. At this point, Joshua wanted to know more about the promised land before they moved in, especially the city of Jericho. So he sent 2 spies into the city to get some information before the entire group would make their move. The 2 spies ended up staying in a woman named Rahab's house. The king of Jericho found out where the spies were staying, and he sent Rahab a message. In the book of Joshua, chapter 2, it says the king's message was this: "Bring out the men who came to you and entered your house. They have come to spy out our whole land." Rahab decided to mislead the king's men who were searching for the spies. She told them that the spies had left and were outside of the city gates. She sent the king's men away from her house. In real life, Rahab had hidden the spies on the roof of her house under a plant. After it was all clear, she told the spies that she knew the land she lived in was promised to the Israelites by God. She told them that the people of Jericho were afraid of the Israelites because they had heard about all the things God had done to protect them on their journey through the wilderness. The spies made a promise to Rahab that because of her kindness in saving their lives, no harm would come to her or her family when the Israelites returned to take over the land that was promised to them by God. Want to know something interesting about Rahab? She made mistakes. Lots of them, okay? But God can use imperfect people for his purposes. She knew this land was meant to be theirs and was willing to help them, even though she was far from being perfect. Do you know that she would end up being Jesus's great, and a whole bunch of other greats grandmother? So interesting, right? Okay, so back to the spies. They returned to Joshua. After he gets some information from them, Joshua decided it was time to move into the promised land. To get there, they would have to cross the Jordan River. God told Joshua to give the people specific instructions. The priests from the tribe of Levi were to walk in front of the crowd, carrying the Ark of the Covenant. This is an important part of the tabernacle that holds the 10 commandments. Then the Lord tells Joshua, "Today, I will begin to make you a great man to all the Israelites, so the people will know I am with you just as I was with Moses." The priests will carry the Ark of the Covenant. Tell them this: "Go to the edge of the Jordan River and stand in the water." I wonder if they were thinking, how will we get this heavy ark across this river? What a challenge that must have felt like. But when the priest began to walk to the water, the river parted down the middle, just like the Red Sea. In Joshua chapter 3, verse 17, it says, "The ground there became dry. The priests carried the Ark of the Covenant with the Lord to the middle of the river and stopped. They waited there while all the people of Israel walked across. They crossed the Jordan River on dry land." Wow! All of God's people were able to cross safely on dry land. That's incredible! God is making a way for them to get home. Let's say today's bottom line is time to go home together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. It's time to go home. It is so cool to see how God always has a plan for his people. If you have a challenge that you are facing, give it over to God. Nothing is too big for God. Bye-bye for now.